about the importance of not just visualizing the good, but also in preparing for what may happen. Basically, scenario planning as you would look at it as you're going through the visualization. All right, so added an extra little bit to that stretch, so we are over the marathon mark at this point. A little under 6 miles to go. Definitely feeling it right now. So while my mind is still a little clear, let's get into chapter 5, I believe it was. So in this chapter, it's all about callousing your mind, is what Goggins calls it, and it's about just building your mindset to handle whatever may come your way. So he equates it to like weightlifting and working out, where you build the calluses on your hand. He says his theory is that you have to build those same types of calluses on your mind so that you can go in with a very strong mindset. It's a fairly long chapter. It goes through his history of SEAL training and several injuries. To be perfectly honest, I'm not sure how the dude is still alive with some of the things that he's done. But finishing SEAL training on broken legs and all the things required to build the mind. But I think the deeper part of the chapter is where he talks about building the foundation. And a lot of it is just going back to in the earlier chapters where we were talking about journaling and kind of going back into the kind of the subconscious part of our mind to figure out what is really driving this car the way it's going. And so he talks about without that solid foundation, just like a building, without a solid foundation, your life is going to experience some troubles along the way. And so in this case, we have to kind of go back and face some of those things from the past so that we can then put them aside. Now, when you're going through this, I said earlier, and I was talking with a new coaching client earlier today, and I told him, I said, what you say to me and your honesty with me is going to be very important, but what's most important is what you say to yourself and the honesty that you have with yourself. So really, when you're going through this exercise of just kind of building this foundation and making sure that you are, moving from some of the events and some of the circumstances and some of the things that have happened, it's going to make you a little uncomfortable. And so you just have to be very honest, and you have to, again, get out of that comfort zone and into the discomfort zone in order to grow. So that was a big push for this chapter. Now, we talked a little bit last time about about the thought process. You get this big idea up here, and how can we manifest it and make it real? The challenge with this one is visualization. And so he says in order to build the foundation, you kind of have to spend some time visualizing. And I think visualization is very important. And we are, we're spiritual beings. We're gifted with an intellect. We live on this physical plane. And there's, again, we're living at this level down here. Somewhere up at a higher level, you get this wonderful idea of something that you can be, something you can become. And it really grabs your interest. And what happens is those programs that are running underneath, the belief systems that we have to face as we're callousing our mind, to use Goggins' term, those things kind of kick in. And so you get this idea, and immediately something tells you, yeah, that's not for you, and then you move on. And so the whole idea of visualization, what it does, we have several intellectual faculties at our disposal, and imagination is one of those. And we have to spend some time using that intellectual faculty of imagination, just to spend some time at that higher level, seeing and visualizing what it would mean to become the person that could accomplish what you want to accomplish, to become what you want to become. And it's very difficult. You can't live at that higher level right away. You can't live there, but you can visit it, and you can visit it fairly often through that intellectual faculty of imagination. So I totally believe that visualization is incredibly important. He talks about the importance of not just visualizing the good, but also in preparing for what may happen. Basically, scenario planning as you would look at it as you're going through the visualization. But the big thing is just whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you need several times a day that you can spend just in you got to spend it right up here, and you got to spend it in that imaginative thought, just visualizing what that would be. And again, the subconscious brain really can't tell reality from what you're imagining if you imagine it with enough emotion and with enough and very vividly. And so you'll start to act in ways that you didn't even know you could act. You'll start to do some things you may not even know you can do, just simply by the fact of using this technique of taking your mind to a higher plane just every once in a while through imagination. Now, as far as the run goes, this is getting more difficult, and as you can see, part of the challenge for me that I wanted to do tonight was to see if how focused could I stay, not just on mental toughness to finish the distance, but also to stay focused on a book and to come back and bring content. So you can kind of see I'm having a little more difficulty thinking through what my next thought's going to be. But so far, it's I hit the marathon point, as I said earlier. Definitely much harder to get the legs moving up and down. I didn't really plan for this. This is something that a couple of days ago I decided to do. I was kind of talking to my son James about it and talked about putting this kind of thing together with some videos with the book. And he goes, well, that would be unique. And so it kind of spurred me to, okay, well, maybe it's a good idea, so I'll give it a shot. But the mental part of this challenge has been really tough. So my mind was wandering a little bit more that time, and trying to put together coherent thoughts was a little more difficult. So I can definitely tell that this is weighing on me. But I'm down to less than 6 miles to go. We're in the home stretch now. I'm going to get something good here to eat and drink and put on a dry shirt for the final push. And next time I see you, we're going to be done with this, and we may talk about another chapter, or I've got some songs queued up if it gets harder. Since I wasn't planning for this, I think the hardest part right now is maybe not so much the legs, but the upper body. It's really a toll on the upper body, so I'm really feeling it in my back and through my core. So I probably should have done a few weeks of core work before trying to do this. But if things get a little hairy out on these last 6 miles, I may switch over to a little music or something just to give me that extra push. But whatever happens, I'm going to come back and give you an update, and we may talk books, or we may just celebrate and have a big old Gatorade or something. But anyway, I'm going to get back at it, and I will talk to you again in just a little bit.